Pop or drop for this week's episode of Smackdown. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers and let's talk about some wrestling.
I always cheers early. I was cheersing before you started the intro, you know?
It's all good. It's all good. We had a phenomenal episode of Smackdown to follow a phenomenal episode of Raw this week. Let's just go ahead and hop right into it. I got a whole freaking page on this opening segment because it was a huge one.
As you should.
Yeah.
As
So-
you should.
SmackDown is in Chicago this week, as everybody knew. Everybody was looking forward to whenever WWE enters, whenever wrestling hits Chicago. It's known. It's all eyes on the product.
Yeah.
It opens up. It's a full ass arena, and they're immediately
Sold out. It's
sold
packed.
out, and they're immediately screaming one name: CM Punk. Whole place is going wild, and WWE did the thing that everybody does with CM Punk, where they just show the crowd for like a buffered 10 seconds. Of no commentary or anything. It just sits there on the crowd. And then
As it should, though. I mean,
yeah.
like, that just... It reminded me, like, you know, AEW did it that first time he did
Yeah,
it there.
yeah,
and
yeah.
that was kind of what made me think of it, at least. But
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
man, like, place is on fire.
Oh,
It should be.
Oh yeah. So his music hits and he does. I mean he soaks it all in. He gets the Undertaker time.
That's what I was about to say. I was looking at it. Well, he, like, sprints out to the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, dang, okay.
He doesn't even do the clobbering time.
He's excited. And
Yeah.
then he just, like, I'm just going to soak all this in.
Well, yeah, and there was a picture on Twitter. I like AEW, but this is funny. He took the camera when he got to a hard cam side, and he turned the camera with his hand. He grabbed the camera and he goes, "Look, there's people on this side." So that was pretty good. He got into the ring. He did his patented sit in the middle of the ring, and he just kind of soaked it all in. And the crowd was giving him every reason to, because they were just on one for him. Anyway, he starts talking about the idea of the home crowd in wrestling and how that is pressure. He says pressure to fight in front of your hometown. It's pressure to be on live television. It's pressure to tell your home crowd that you're going to be champion and get it done. And then he talks about how he was able to do that in 2011 at Money in the Bank against John Cena in their infamous match in Chicago, where he told his Chicagoans that he was going to walk out and at the time retire from WWE as the WWE champion, and he did it. Iconic stuff. But he goes, you know what I'm alluding at, right? Because of the Drew McIntyre in Glasgow, Scotland, not getting the job done. So he said, he basically did a little thing on Drew. He goes, I wanted to make Drew's life a living hell. I wanted to end his career, but I didn't know it would be that easy. Because he mentioned that Drew had quit Monday on Raw.
Yes.
And then something extremely interesting. My eyes perked up. Paul Heyman comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I was kind of like, oh. Like, obviously, Punk's always been, like, a Heyman guy.
Yeah.
You know that,
Yeah.
you know that they love each other and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
But to see it on TV, I was like, oh.
And
Okay.
Paul immediately continues his best piece, his best stretch of work in history. This dude is just incredible. He comes out, he does the whole, my name is Paul Heyman, tribal chief, I miss Roman Reigns. But he said, he just looks at Punk and he goes, this man is at my Hall of Fame speech, I said that this man is my best friend. I would do anything for you. And he gets in the ring, emotional man. They hug. They do a big real hug for 10 seconds. Paul Heyman looks like he's tearing up. He says, I needed that. And real emotions flowing for the guy. Anyway, he says, I'm actually in the ring for business. He says that if you turn on sports radio in Chicago today, all you can hear about it is this city belongs to CM Punk. And Solo Sikoa doesn't like that, because he thinks that any city he steps in should be his city. And he goes, we have extra security here, but that's not for the bloodline to protect you. He mentioned the Wyatt Six stuff, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. I like when they do that.
Oh yeah, he was
like when they mention stuff.
Oh
from the
yeah,
other shows.
yeah, it's so cool. So he goes, they're gonna be here to mess you up if you don't leave. And he says, if you do me a favor, then I will do you. If you can do me a favor, then I will do you a favor. So please leave. And CM Punk is basically just like, you really want me to leave? And Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline come out, and they basically say, yeah, get the hell out of my ring. I'm gonna come in there. he said something to the lines of, Punk, if you want to be on SmackDown, you have 2 options. 1, you either pay your respect to the Bloodline and Solo Sikoa, or 2, you never get cleared to wrestle again. CM Punk says, Paul, if I leave, what favor do you want me to give you? And Paul Heyman goes, take me with you. Which was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Paul's like a little prisoner
yeah,
within the Bloodline, and that's how they've been portraying it. So it's been great work, like you
And CM Punk goes, Solo, I acknowledge, and he starts to throw up the one. All I see standing in front of me is a bunch of fake-ass Usos and a phony tribal chief. And the Bloodline, they immediately get pissed. They start to surround the ring, and then adrenaline. No music, but he runs in with a bat. This man's Sting now.
A bat and a chair.
Yeah, a bat and a chair. And he throws the bat to CM Punk, and Cody has a chair, and obviously they all back off. Bloodline backs off. And Cody grabs a mic. This was a long ass first segment, but it was great. Cody grabs a mic and goes, Solo, you call yourself the head of the table. Well, I've already beaten the head of the table. So let's just settle this tonight. Crowd, yeah, woo. And they give each other the good old stare down. We got ourselves a main event match. We got Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes. This opening segment, absolutely nothing but pops. Phenomenal from top to bottom.
Yeah, it has to be. Even the Bloodline, who admittedly I've kind of grown a little bit tiresome, a little bit bored of.
Yeah.
I still thought they played their role really well.
Oh, yeah.
Paul helps that as well. Obviously, anytime Paul's on camera, he's going to enhance them. Admittedly, I was like, okay, cool. Like, maybe we're not doing it at Money in the Bank. We get the champion fighting on SmackDown.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah. Oh, I felt the exact same way. I was literally like, I wrote down in my notes, because we always do our big pod after this in my pop. I was going to be like, Cody's fighting on SmackDown. We'll get to that later, but that was always a great thing. I was just happy to see Punk and Heyman in the ring together again. Yeah. That was just good, actual, like, real stuff in the ring with them too. They're real life friends, legit. More Bloodline stuff later, so I won't get into that, but good stuff.
Yeah, and I guess it's the nice way to portray Paul as like that, like I said, that like prisoner in the Bloodline, and he gets to work with his good buddy Punk, and like you can tell the emotion where he's like, please just take me with you.
Yeah,
just
take me
I
with you.
really don't want to be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So that really helps out Paul with the eventual Bloodline stuff that'll happen.
And when we move on, I mentioned it earlier in the segment, but commentary officially says, look, we got a bunch of extra security here tonight on SmackDown. They show it. There's security lined up, like sitting next to commentary, and then around the ring. Not a ton of them, but there's a good amount of security. And they said that they have to be extra. There has to be extra security here because of the massacre that happened on Raw. So that was just really cool that they acknowledged it, because you gotta acknowledge that everybody died. We move on after that though. Bianca and Jade are backstage, and Jade and Bianca's stretching, getting ready for a match or something. And Jade walks up and goes, I know we have our Money in the Bank qualifier matches. You got yours tonight. I got mine next week on SmackDown. But we need a rematch for these belts. And then Bianca just goes, obviously I want my title back, but let's just worry about qualifying for these matches first. So there was that, and that led directly into the women's Money in the Bank qualifying match with Bianca, Michin, and Chelsea Green. And I texted you because we watched this separately, and I went, damn it, Chelsea Green is in a match with Bianca. We're screwed.
Yeah.
I was like, we are screwed.
Yeah. That was exactly my thought. When I saw the three,
Yeah.
I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. This night of Money in the Bank qualifier matches did not go as expected, though, and it's awesome. Right before the match, though, we did get a small segment in the back with Cody. He's just walking. Still got his bat. He's just walking around. He's mad. And he bumps into Orton and Kevin. And Orton and Kevin are like, dude, you shouldn't take on Solo tonight one-on-one. You know that they just have a plan. It's just going to be a numbers game. And Cody's like, don't worry, guys. I have a plan. So there was that. This match then started. And the first couple minutes kind of just went back and forth with Michin or Chelsea Green would be in the ring, do one move to one of the women. So she'd punch Michin or Bianca, immediately start shit talking. Yeah. And then the other one would just beat her up.
Yeah. And just back and forth. Yeah, like she's like in the middle at one point, just taking hits from both of them.
Absolutely great. She's just absolutely great. She did hit Chelsea Green did get a good amount of offense in to show her off. She did a suicide dive out of the ring, took them both out. Mishin actually got some good offense in here, which was great. She's a mostly NXT talent, but you got to get her on screen and get her going as well.
Yeah.
She had,
ever since she became Mi Chin and not Mia Yim.
Yeah.
She's not really on TV much anymore.
How you say Mia Yim fast enough. Someone had to just say her name too fast, and someone was like, that's it.
It's gold.
That's it. Mishin did do like a super German to both the girls off the top rope. They were powerbomb. It was a German because she literally wrapped her arms around Bianca and did a German, and then Bianca pulled Chelsea off the top rope. That was just a really cool spot. She also did a Styles Clash on Chelsea Green.
I was very shocked by that.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, I know she was in like the OC with Gallows and
yeah.
Styles, but I was like, oh,
And
like she started going for it, and I was like, oh, she's doing, oh.
Well, to me, at first, it looked like she was botching something. Like the setup, she obviously doesn't, AJ Styles is so clean with the setup that it's just instant, but like they obviously had to take time to make sure they were in place, which is totally fine. But like when she did it, I was like, oh, Styles Clash, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, it ends with Bianca gets the KOD on Mishin, who nobody kicks out of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Chelsea Green, she just gets in the ring and she punches Bianca once, throws her out, gets the pin on Mishin. 1, 2, 3. Chelsea Green is moving on to the women's Money in the Bank. Pops all the way around for that one, man. Pop.
Yeah, could not be happier.
Yeah, me too.
I literally had it on my list in our Money in the Bank video, and I saw her in this match, and I thought, man, it'd be really cool if they gave this to Chelsea Green, but Bianca's in the match, so no chance that happens, right? Yeah. And then Chelsea Green, just smart. I like the way that, like, the heels, as of late, like, the faces will hit their finisher, and then the heels are like, I'm going to throw you out of the ring, and I'm going to get the pin, and I'm going to be sneaky with it. We've seen it a few times now. I don't want it to be like overused, but I mean it's like a video game tactic where it's like I'm gonna be smart here, and for the longest time
makes complete sense.
Yeah, it's the smartest thing.
No, right? don't overdo it and have them doing this stuff all the time. But right now it feels new and it's nice and it's a good way. Obviously the last 2 times it's happened has been on Jade and Bianca, so it's like WWE is literally telling the audience that like these two are unstoppable. No one can beat them. Just straight up. So these heels have to take opportunities and just seize them, and that's a great way to do it. So we then would move on backstage to Solo and Paul, and Solo's just staring at Paul. He's like, I'm so disappointed in you because Paul did the whole take me with you thing. And Solo's like, so you want to leave? Huh? And then Paul's like, no, I don't want to leave. I shouldn't have said that. And he's like, no, it's fine. You're going to leave tonight, but you're going to do something first. And then the mic cuts out, and you can't hear anything. But there was an actual technical difficulty. But Corey Graves and them mentioned it later and corrected it. But he told Paul Heyman that before he leaves tonight, he needs to make sure that Randy Orton and Kevin Owens do not qualify for the Money in the Bank. And then he says, we're going to have a talk after you do it. So just something easy there. Then we get spicy. We get real spicy. On screen, we're just like, oh, it's Grayson Waller. Love Grayson Waller. No Austin Theory tonight. They're saying that he got injured last week from the DIY stuff, which whatever on that one. But Grayson is beginning to talk. He says, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank for Austin Theory, my A-Town down boy. And then DIY shows up, and they're like, dude, you don't even like Theory? Like, you used him as a human shield last week? Like, he's hurt because of you. And then all of a sudden, they're standing in front of a garage door, and then all of a sudden, you just hear giant, loud bangs in the garage door. Kayla Braxton is there interviewing, and she freaks out, and she runs. And everybody's like, what the hell? And the garage door slowly raises up, and the first thing you see is a bloodied and beaten CM Punk. And then, the garage door is going slow. It's dramatic effect. And then you just see Drew McIntyre standing there. This isn't an employee to WWE. He needs to be arrested, huh? He quit. He's off the payroll, bro. Yeah. You can't do this. That's assault.
Who's going to stop him, though? Nobody can stop that, man.
They have, they got the fake blood rolling, man. Drew or CM Punk is absolutely covered in it. It's dripping down his face. It's coming out of his mouth. And Drew just picks him up like a rag doll. Yeah. Like, literally just picks him up, puts him on his shoulders, and he just walks. And it's one camera. There's no cuts. They do the thing where he walks from the back all the way through Gorilla out to the stage set, and he's just looking at the crowd, and the crowd who loves CM Punk is just disgusted. They're chanting, "Fuck you, Drew McIntyre." It's the the audio is blanking out because WWE has to try to censor it, and he just drops him onto the stage, which looks rough as hell. I'm not gonna lie when he does it. And that's it. Oh no, he takes some of the blood and he does the clobbering time. He bends over and does the clobbering time, and he just looks at CM Punk, and then security and forgetting his name, Aldis.
Nick Aldis. Yeah.
Nick Aldis comes out. Nick Aldis pushing him. What are you doing? All mad, and that's it. They stretcher Punk out. This was completely unexpected and a complete pop.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we knew Drew was going to show up. It made sense. I'm going to pop it as well. Great to see. The only complaint I think I have, and it's a very, very minor that's going to make it sound like I'm just a terrible, overcritical person, is when that garage door goes up, Drew McIntyre stands there for what felt like 30 minutes.
Oh, he did. He did good.
He just
dramatic effect.
I was like,
he was smoldering.
I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What?
He just pulls out a gun and shoots.
What's gonna happen? And then he finally, I was like, okay, well, there we go. So that was only the minor thing, because I almost started laughing because I was like, okay, Drew, like do something now.
I thought he was just gonna walk away.
Yeah, yeah. And so when he picked him up, which we've talked about it with Otis before, how Otis does it, but Drew McIntyre showed it as well. Like the ability just to carry grown human beings.
Yeah, I mean, he deadlifted 200 pounds, whatever CM Punk is right there, just from the ground to his head, to his back, like it was absolutely nothing.
And then he just walked him.
Yeah, and then
however long.
Yeah, he casually he just casually rucked him.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. There's no big deal.
Yeah, great stuff though. I mean that. Obviously, what you said, we knew that they were. We knew he was going to show up, but like how, and this was completely unexpected. Doing it like in the middle of another promo, it's just cool.
Yeah, and obviously Punk gets put on the stretcher, and
yeah,
now it's begs the question of, okay, well, how long is Punk out for now? You know?
Yeah, that was my takeaway. Was damn, I thought we were getting close to him being cleared, but obviously not. Like because he hasn't shown up with the arm brace or anything in a while. He's done here and there in the ring stuff. Like he got a little bit physical at Clash. So I was figuring, man, he might be closer than expected, but when you do something like this, it's like, damn.
Yeah, and I guess my thoughts, you say a little bit physical at Clash, like, yeah, it is also like he did just get grabbed and then a low blow. And then you think about some of the stuff, and it's like, I thought so too. I thought he was close, but, we're hoping for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I think it is SummerSlam.
It probably is, so you probably give him another month.
Well,
maybe he comes back the week before SummerSlam?
Yeah. I think it's SummerSlam because even though that we said and most thought it was so obvious that Drew was going to show up in Chicago because of the Glasgow stuff, I thought, well, maybe if Drew doesn't show in Chicago, then we are going to play the Drew McIntyre's retire quit for a while, and that's kind of our buffer with Punk being hurt. But now that he came back 1 week into it, I think that he's got to be close enough for SummerSlam because there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to give up on the Drew quit storyline in 4 days if he's not cleared. But
yeah, and Drew's been doing a really good job at carrying this feud on his own, and you haven't really needed Punk when they've been on screen together at the same time now. It feels more important.
Yeah, Drew carrying CM Punk on his back during the attack was kind of metaphoric, huh? We got a Money in the Bank qualifier match next time.
I was supposed to be the witty one here.
I love Punk. Money in the Bank qualifier match. So we got Carmelo Hayes versus Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton. And I'm sitting here thinking, damn, that is a great 3 people in the ring with each other right now in terms of storyline and all of them needing a Money in the Bank opportunity. Because even on my list, I had Randy Orton as my honorable mention. I was like, this man's a sleeper pick.
Yeah, I mean, Carmelo, I almost put on my list. Admittedly, it was like not that I necessarily want to see him with it, but like young talent.
Yeah, before we get into the match, Carmelo Hayes in a Money in the Bank match would be entertaining. He has that potential of being able to do the fun stuff, right?
Exactly. So. And then obviously with Tonga, with the just the bloodline having that power would make sense.
Anyway, the match starts and Orton does not give a shit about Carmelo Hayes. He's just staring Tama Tonga down, and Carmelo Hayes is looking at them both like, you know what? I don't like Randy Orton, and so Carmelo Hayes goes after Orton, and that becomes the first third of the match becomes a Orton versus 2 of them type deal. Carmelo Hayes and Tama Tonga are like, let's just get this behemoth out of the ring because Randy Orton looks so big with these guys. Holy shit!
They mentioned it on commentary as well. I think it was Graves. Was like, Yeah, he was bigger than he was when he came back at SummerSlam. He's got to be 275,
Yeah,
280.
I know.
I'm like, God.
Which, I mean, obviously, it's obvious when you've been watching Randy Orton forever that he is bigger than he's ever been, like stronger. But when you see him in the ring with those guys, I was like, damn, he literally looks massive.
He's
very
almost
cool.
like a giant powerhouse now, which Randy's never been like a powerhouse.
Right. It's cool. Anyway, match immediately spills to the outside, and they did this fun thing where Randy was trying. Vintage Orton now includes a table drop spot, like announced table spot. Yeah. So he was going. He tried to do it on Tama, and then Carmelo Hayes broke it up, and then he tried to do it on Carmelo Hayes, and Tama broke it up, and then he ended up getting the momentum, and then dropped them one by one onto it. It was just a really good outside spot.
Yeah, we can thank Jinder Mahal's.
I don't know. Was it
Singh? Something Singh.
Yeah.
I almost said VJ
Singh,
dropped
him on their head.
That was a golfer, but yeah, that's kind of like the first table spot I remember. Yeah. But it is kind of like that vintage Orton with that, and then the DDT. Obviously.
Yeah. So he gets them both. Something happened over commercial break to where we come back and it's Tama Tonga versus Carmelo Hayes. They're in the ring, and they take up a good portion of the middle of this match in kind of a one-on-one fashion. Don't know what happened during the break, so that's sort of negative. Like, we are getting like commercial cuts really early into these matches. I do see the complaints online about it. Doesn't matter to me, but let's at least like Randy Orton had momentum. Now he doesn't have momentum. I need to see something.
Yeah, you could at least do like at least back in the older days, they used to like at least show like a clip, like hey, this is what happened. Suicide dive or whatever. But
whenever Orton does get back in the ring, he is being booked as the powerhouse of the match. So he's able to kind of clear shop whenever he's in the ring. He even did a double vintage Orton DDT, rope DDT to both of them, which was really nice. But then the BSery happens. Orton would go for the RKO. Loa would come out, or the rest of Bloodline would come out and distract. Tama Tonga would come from the back. Randy would dodge it, throw him out of the ring, but Carmelo Hayes would take advantage of all the distraction. Roll up.
Most devastating move.
1, 2, 3. Carmelo Hayes gets to go to the Money in the Bank gets to go to Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I got to give this a pop. I thought it was great all the way around. All these guys look good. It gave Tama and Carmelo a time to shine in the middle of the match. This is really good stuff. Pop.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop it as well. I mean, obviously, Randy has the least to gain out of everybody here.
Yeah.
And so Carmelo, we've talked about before in the past. He's kind of been just, what do you do with Carmelo? He was kind of in that LA Knight feud for a little bit, and it was like, but that was just to get to the Logan Paul stuff, really. So it was like, man, what do you do with Carmelo Hayes? So perfect chance to at least put him in the match, see what he can do. I mean,
and he'll be fun.
Like you said, he's gonna have some high spots, some just athletic stuff. It's kind of like a modern day like Shelton Benjamin in terms of like just that athletic guy. Obviously, he's not that same level because Shelton was a freak among freaks, but kind of that same tier.
Carmelo Hayes can go, man. I wouldn't count him out quite yet. I wouldn't mind a Carmelo Hayes, Shelton Benjamin, leaned over ladder run up spot.
Then they put it in the game for like 3 years after that, and it never worked.
Yeah, it never worked.
Never worked.
LA Knight would then come out. Yeah, he'd come out. He's not ready to fight though. He's in jeans. Not ready to fight.
Yeah.
But he immediately gets in the ring. He calls out Logan Paul. He says, "This week is the week you're supposed to be here. Logan Paul, get out here and bring that U.S. title with you." Crickets. Chirp chirp. He's like, "Oh, of course not." And he starts shit talking Logan Paul. And then he goes, "It doesn't matter because next week we're in a match together. It's me, it's Logan Paul, and it's Santos Escobar."
Yeah.
For the Money in the Bank qualifier. I was like, what? I was like, wait, what? He goes,
pulled it out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's not the one-on-one match I want, but it's a match. I'm like, oh.
It's like when you sim ahead in universe mode.
Yeah.
It's just like the most random people thrown together. Like, this guy's WWE champ. What is going on?
Yeah, but you see, like, why did they have Carmelo Hayes in the LA Knight stuff at all? Why wouldn't you put Carmelo in this? Whatever.
Yeah, Santos, yeah. I don't know.
Speaking of Santos, though, he wouldn't take this shit.
I wouldn't either.
Because LA Knight was talking some shit on Santos Escobar a little bit. He was putting him down, and Santos Escobar was like, you know what? It's my time to shine. He goes out there with a mic, and his theme hits, and nobody in the crowd knows who the hell this is. Oh, and his name goes out on the screen. It's like, oh, it's Santos.
Yeah.
And he goes, LA Knight. He calls LA Knight delusional. and he says he's gonna basically prove to him next week that Santos Escobar is great and he should be here. LA Knight just responds because they give Santos Escobar like 90 seconds and he does his best and he does a good job on the mic. It's just we don't know who he is, so it doesn't really matter, right? And LA Knight just goes, "Well, clearly you're a fan favorite."
Just the one liner just destroyed the whole. Like you said, Santos had a decent to, I would say, good promo.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's like above average.
And then LA Knight just
shit on him, you know.
Shovels him up. So he says that, and Santos Escobar is like, you know what, screw this. He tries to attack LA Knight, and LA immediately reverses it into the BFT. Which
God, looks so awful.
It looks bad.
We need a new finisher.
God, I love him until he does his finisher. And so he's talking that he's doing the Stone Cold, talking the shit after he hits his BFT, and then you can see the crowd. They're getting loud for some reason.
You hear the crowd too. You can hear that pop.
Yeah. They're getting loud for some reason. Logan Paul attacks from behind, punches him in the back of the head, throws him into the turnbuckle. LA Knight staggering, and he gives him the good old, what do they call it? Titanium. It's his titanium fist. It's got titanium in it.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's just a knockout punch.
It's just a knockout punch. He knocks him out. And
Prime Punch makes so much more sense.
I know, the Prime Punch. Like, just do it, man. He should tattoo Prime on his knuckle. He hits him. I'm gonna give that's the end of the segment. I'm gonna give this a pop. LA Knight's great. He's funny. I'm not too sure about the Santos Escobar triple threat match, but in terms of giving LA Knight a 5-minute promo, this is about as good as you get. You get a little bit of Logan Paul is actually in the ring for once, which is good. It did what it needed to do for me.
I'm gonna pop it as well. Kind of an unannounced Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Just randomly show up, which we always criticize Logan for not showing up. Even if it is just a minute and he hops back on the plane and flies back home. Like, that's okay. Santos Escobar, I thought, did a good job on his promo. Like you said, nobody really cares who he is because it's Santos
clearly
Escobar.
A fan favorite.
But
Santos Escobar.
I guess I am confused at the triple threat match because that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you have the U.S. champion and the Money in the Bank, but then you have the guy he's going to feud with and then at SummerSlam. So by default...
Are they working this to where, like, LA Knight wants to win the Money in the Bank in order to challenge Logan?
He said something like that in the promo.
I know he did, but I didn't really know what he said. I didn't really know what he was getting at.
He said something like, I'm going to get that briefcase, and then I'm going to 2 for 1 or something. So maybe he gets the briefcase, but then he fights Logan at SummerSlam and wins the U.S. title? I don't know. That's maybe what he said. But the rivalry in that match is so strong that, like, Santos Escobar is going to win that match. Which Santos Escobar is going to be the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, 100%. I felt the same way. I was like, Logan and LA are in this match. They're not winning.
Maybe LA Knight and Logan Paul just fight off into the crowd, and Santos just stands there. He just gets like a count out.
Okay, that'd actually be hilarious.
He's just
people online would hate that, but I would find that hilarious. Dude, book that now. That's fucking awesome. All right, we then moved on to our another men's Money in the Bank qualifier match. We had Grayson Waller versus Andrade versus Kevin Owens. Andrade getting put into a good match here. It's been known behind the scenes that he has not been happy with their stuff lately. He can go, and this match really proved it again. Say what you want about his character, but his in-ring is just my type of stuff. Stiff worker. But before the match, as Owens is entering the ring, Bloodline is there, and they just beat the hell out of him. Just stomping his leg out. I mean, just
stomping a mud hole.
A good old-fashioned, like, quick match, WWE 2K before match random event that happens.
They just beat the hell out of his knee.
Yeah, Randy Orton comes out with a chair and scares him away, but the damage is done. Kevin is limping, but
he's got orange legs.
Yeah, he's got orange legs in the match, but his shirt says "Fight Owens, fight," so he's got to go fight. And it's kind of funny. He's like limping to the ring, and Orton's like, "You sure you got this, bud?" He's like, "I got this, buddy."
Just hold him off, is what he says.
Yeah, just hold him off.
Okay.
So he's Owens is selling a leg injury this entire match, and that kind of gives away a finish, but he's still getting off offense. They booked him as being like, he's Kevin Owens. He's hurt, but he's still a man. There's a cool little apron spot in the match where all 3 guys were on the apron. It was Owens and Grayson in the corners with Andrade in the middle, and they were all just trading blows with each other while being on the apron. And it ended with they would throw Andrade into the ring. Grayson would then powerbomb Owens onto the apron, and then Andrade would do like a flip over Grayson powerbomb off the apron. Very cool stuff there. As I said, Andrade can freaking go. Owens did a swanton bomb he did two. The first one was knees up from Andrade, and Owens just takes it. You know, we're not huge Owens fans, but he didn't give a shit about taking some hits, man. A lot of offense. I had a lot of offense for Andrade. Known that he was mad about his rule, but good stuff here. He did it. Grayson Waller did a double roll up face buster from outside the ring, which was beautiful.
Yeah.
Anytime he rolls into the ring like that, it's so cool. It's so impressive too, man.
Anyway, as we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah, as we get to in a minute. KO would then power bomb both of them, and then he'd get on the top rope, swanton bomb Andrade, 1, 2, ooh. And then you get Wallen's roll. I'm messing up my thing here. How does this match end? So you had
Owens and Waller were on the outside.
Owens and Waller were on the outside. But then Owens stunned Andrade, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Owens stunned Andrade in the ring. Mm-hmm. Owens and Waller get out of the ring. They're fighting on the outside. Waller ends up cashing out Owens. Waller would then go for a roll up into the ring, his roll up, whatever you call it. But Andrade would catch him with his finish called the Message, and Andrade would get this win.
Yeah.
Completely unexpected on that one. The match was great. The Owens stuff ended at the stage, so they didn't have any more BS, which is what I would have worried about. I'm going to go ahead and give it a pop. It was good.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a pop. You got Kevin Owens that can take bumps, and Waller and Andrade can both go in the ring.
Yeah.
I was hyping up Waller throughout the whole match, and then he goes at the end. I'm like, oh, here we go. I love this move. And then he just gets destroyed. And I was like, oh, well, it looked really cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bare minimum, I feel like you have to give it a pop for the ending because, I mean, that was fantastic.
Carmelo Hayes and Andrade winning the bank matches. What a time. What a time.
Yeah, so now we have him and Jay and
MJ, there was
Carmelo, Jay, and
was there one more on Raw?
I thought Jay was the only one. I think Raw only did one each.
3 hours only did one. We then got a very quick Tiffy time with Misha in the back. They're still keeping Tiffany away from the ring for whatever reason. But Tiffany walked up to Misha and she's like, you know, you're kind of a loser. I'm gonna win my match next week. And Misha's like, shut up. Shut up, you're not gonna win because your head's too far up Nia's ass. And Tiffany's like, no. Goes to slap Misha, and Misha catches the slap, smacks the shit out of Tiffany. But then big old Nia's there and just destroys Misha.
Just runs through her basically.
And and Nia and Tiffany look at each other, just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Little quick segment.
Yeah.
Goes on to talk about, or I guess hints at the tag team still.
Yeah.
Tiffany, it was nice for Tiffany to say, like, I'm going to win my match next week, which obviously alluded to, and they announced the match later on. Like, okay, we get to see Tiffany
She's
back.
in there with Jade.
We get to see Tiffany again in the ring, which I'm excited for. Her and Jade. I don't remember who the third person is. It's somebody they fire, though.
Oh, it's blonde girl. Yeah, I should have written it down, but maybe Lorraine? I don't know.
I'll do some detective work.
Anyway, yeah, we're alluding to the tag team stuff with Nia. We assume that's going to happen. But anytime Tiffany Stratton's on screen, good stuff here. We then had a very, very quick segment with Kayla Braxton, and she's just giving an update on CM Punk. And she says that CM Punk has been transported to a local hospital, and Drew said, I'll see you on Monday. So
it is Candice LeRae.
Candice LeRae? Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Which, I mean, you look at that and obviously, I guess I don't mean to backtrack, but I was just thinking about it. The Jade Cargill and the Tiffany stuff, obviously the online stuff that people have seen, not good.
No.
And now they're in a match together.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think Jade gives a shit about the post.
I don't think Jade does, but the fans do.
Yeah.
So I think Jade is more just like it is what it is, but the fans do. You know?
I think it would just be too good to be true if they give us Chelsea Green and Tiffany in this match. God, please just do it, man. Please just do it.
We can only hope.
Yeah. So, like I said, Drew's gonna see us on Monday, so hopefully he gets a new contract done by then because he quit, right? So 4 days seems like enough time to terminate a man's contract, so they might have to redo the whole thing.
Usually it's just on the spot, you know. Usually you're just done.
Yeah.
Like you quit, boom.
Yeah. We then would go to our main event, which when I looked at my watch, I was like, there's 9 minutes.
Yeah. I think the entrances started, and I went, oh.
But
Well,
but Cody came out in his WrestleMania gear. His big shoulder pads.
Shoulder pads are so cool.
He was ready to take on a head of the table. So he dressed to take on a head of the table, which I thought was just a great little...
It's a little nugget.
Yeah, it's a little nod at greatness there.
We need to get those shoulder pads.
Oh, dude.
Just wear them all the time.
Literally, I just put Cody's jacket is sick. Big gold shoulders. That's what I wrote down. One of these days, I'll publish up in my notes. People will be like, this dude is an idiot. Solo and Paul had a little bit of thing before the match. This was easily the most interesting part about the match. But it's in Gorilla right before Solo enters. And Paul's like, dude, I did what you said, man. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, they're not qualified. They're not going to be in the match. And he goes, but you gotta not attack CM Punk. He said that Roman Reigns promised Paul Heyman that CM Punk was off the table.
Yeah,
you could keep him clean, which is really, really cool to me. That Paul Heyman is like, dude, I like this guy. Let's leave this guy alone. And Roman's like has enough respect for Paul Heyman to be like, you know what? Yes, you know.
Yep.
And Solo drops the nugget. He goes, Paul, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but Roman is not coming back. Mm-hmm. And Paul Heyman immediately I was watching with my fiance, and she just goes, he's crying. Mm-hmm. He's crying. I was like, yeah, he's good at his job, man. Yeah. Paul Heyman he's like, no, it can't be true. It can't be true. Immediately, like tears start coming out of his eyes. I was like, damn, this is so good. They go to the match, and Solo makes Paul. Paul is so stunned from the news. He makes Paul sit on the steel steps on the outside. So he watches the match from the ring steps, and Paul, he's just shaking his head. Can't be true. The match immediately starts and heads ringside. Kind of a common theme tonight. Just immediately they go ringside. Cody throws Solo off of every steel steps that he can find. Good stuff there. They get back in the ring, and here comes the rest of the bloodline. That's literally it. I mean, Cody literally throws this guy off the steel steps. Solo gets basically no offense, and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa come in the ring. They start beating the hell out of Cody. But then here comes Orton and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens still limping. And
which is funny because Randy's like, come on, we got to get to the ring. And Kevin's like 15 feet behind him, just selling the leg injury. I love it.
And they do what they've been doing this entire time against the bloodline. Randy and Kevin just have like every upper hand on Tama and Tonga. They always just quickly get rid of them out of the ring. But it ends in a really cool scene. Cody, Randy, and Kevin are all... They're 1, 2, 3, and they get Solo in the ring alone, and Solo's eyes widen. He backs up, he falls down, and he does the spare me into the corner, and then he just starts to laugh, and everybody's like, "What the hell?" And then that Chicago crowd, they're giving it away, man. Like that, they're good at it. The whole crowd's going wild. Their heads are not looking in the ring. What's happening? Jacob Fatu, the long rumored and requested addition to the bloodline. He makes his debut, and good Lord, he made the most of it. I mean, he immediately gets in the ring and just starts beating the hell out of everybody. He takes Kevin Owens out to the, he throws everybody out of the ring. He then goes outside, throws Kevin Owens on his shoulders like it's nothing, even though Kevin Owens is a big man. Does a Samoa drop onto the steel steps on him. Immediately gets up, goes crazy, full sprint. Spears Randy Orton through the barricade, big spear. Gets in the ring to fight Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is the champ though, and he ain't gonna back down from nothing. So he gets a couple good swings in, but then he's like, nah, and starts beating up on Cody. Throws Cody out of the ring, throws him on the announce table, and this Jacob Fatu is not a small man, big Samoan dude. Yeah, gets on the top rope and does a splash from the top rope through the announce table. Jacob Fatu has made his debut, and it was a hell of a debut in my opinion. I am going to give our first drop of the night, not to the whole segment. The stuff that happened with Jacob Fatu, that is a phenomenal debut. We will pop that all day long. But I was looking forward to some Cody Rhodes match, and you have to give Solo some sort of reason for me to believe he can be ahead of the table. He literally got no offense in against Cody Rhodes. The match gets a big drop, but this whole segment, gold.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I guess I'll agree with that as well on both parts. The Solo needing some sort of like head of the table establishment.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of taking it differently. Where like Roman would kind of, at least kind of early on, he would kind of do the work himself.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of fell in line. I think Solo's just like he's the head of the table because he can like manipulate the guys.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the way that they're going with it.
No, you're right, but I personally don't. That doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really tough when it's the same stuff almost week after week.
Yes.
So like I said earlier in the pod, it has kind of grown somewhat tiresome, at least the bloodline stuff for me. It was nice to see towards the end, you get that nice shot of Solo kind of going crazy. I thought it was cool. And Jacob Fatu is phenomenal. People have been wanting him for so long.
Dude.
WWE, the reports were that they held off on him because he would overshadow Solo. And they're probably just like, screw it. I don't really care at this point.
Yeah.
It needs it. And he, like you said, he played his role perfectly. Bloodline actually has some new life into it now. And
Yes.
And it actually like gives me a reason to care because the other three, admittedly, I'm just kind of like, you're just random guys.
Yeah. If you, which most casual wrestling, I would say 80% of most casual WWE wrestling fans they won't know who Jacob Fatu is. Go on YouTube and just type his name in with highlights. This dude is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, he's a big man that can do absolutely everything. It's like, not to the extent, but I compare him to like he's like a Samoan version of early Brock in terms of like being a physical presence that can just do everything on top of it. Like he just does. I mean, he can do all this acrobatic stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah. The athletic combined with the size is second to none. Really.
So Jacob Fatu being added to the bloodline is to me is the adrenaline shot that it desperately needs right now. It immediately gets me excited for next week's SmackDown and seeing this. Hopefully they just throw him into a match because the crowd deserves to see this man work and he can prove it. And he's a guy that will just go and go and go and can be a motor. So very excited for them. That's just very good.
Yeah. What a week for returns though, or debuts, I guess.
What a week for SmackDown and Raw. I think the only drops for this episode came from that Cody match, but
yeah, which was short. I mean, at least you did it and you did it nice and short. We got to the good stuff, but I understand what you mean.
Some good pyro for Cody. They did like the fountain.
Yeah.
Like they did the whoa, and then the fountain fireworks went off, and they stayed on for a little bit after he.
Fountain fireworks are probably my favorite firework.
Yeah.
It's either that or like the cane turnbuckles, but yeah.
I was sitting there watching it like that just needs to be a part of his intro. Like that's sick. I like it a lot. Anyway, great episode of SmackDown. We're gonna pop this episode of SmackDown overall. Let us know what you guys think about the episode in the comments. Let us know who you want to see qualify for the Money in the Bank matches. We also have a couple new YouTube videos where we give our way too early Money in the Bank picks, and I think everybody's still alive for the most part in our picks.
I don't think mine is. Oh, my number 3 is Chad Gable.
Oh yeah, he's literally dead.
Yeah. We obviously did that one. I think the day before they announced that he's dead. So I said, "Oh, okay, well,
yeah, we'll see about that one." But
maybe he comes back to life.
Maybe he's the Undertaker.
Undertaker
he's
did
the
it.
Under Gable.
Why can't Gable do it? I'm just saying.
Chad Gable steals the Undertaker gimmick. I'm in. Anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at Spotify, Apple, etc. And share us to anyone who you would think would like this wrestling content. I'm Will. That's Brandon with the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.